perfect for this season as well. It just looks luminous in all the right places, but matte in all the right places where you need it during this season, you know? And we're back today with the perfect makeup tutorial for this season. You guys are gonna love it. This is the Clean Girl makeup tutorial, but the winter edition. I think you guys are gonna love this tutorial because it's just perfect for this season. And I think it's really, really easy to recreate too. Now, if you do like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button so that you don't miss any of my future videos. I'm over on Instagram too, so come and say hi there. And I think we should jump straight into the video now. I've been really excited about this one because I love that clean girl look. Like, that is my go-to look. But also I have been seeing that there's this whole like cold makeup trend going on, which is a little bit too much for me. I'm going to be honest. Like, I don't want to look like my nose is running. I wanted to show you something which kind of infuses that a little bit into that clean girl look, but a winter edition. So let's go for it. My skincare is all on already. And the only thing I'm going to do is start with my SPF. So I'm going to be using my Charlotte Tilbury Invisible Flawless Poreless Primer because that's SPF 50, which is great for me. Just gonna smooth that on. Okay, I'm gonna go in with my Hourglass Vanish Concealer. I'm using the shade Dune. This is actually a deeper shade for me, so it's not my traditional light color concealer. It is a little bit deeper just because I want my face to look kind of like not overly bright in these areas. So I'm just applying that to my eyelids and I'm going to buff that in with my sponge using my Real Technique sponge, because this whole clean girl look, I feel like it's kind of nice to have that clean look, but at the same time, I don't want it to look like your standard kind of like flawless base. You want your skin to still come through, you know, like for those little imperfections to still come through, which I'm going to show you how you can enhance them. So we've got a nice even base on the lids now. I'm going to just set that with my banana powder. So I've just got a little bit of that powder in my hand. I'm going to go in with my powder puff, press into that powder and then press into my lids. This is just going to like prep my eyelids so I don't need to do anything to them. There you go. Just dust that off with my Real Techniques brush. Now I'm going to use this same concealer to lift certain areas. Just, you know, the areas that I want a little bit lifted, but I also don't want it to be like super white in those areas. So this is me just kind of like sculpting my face as well at the same time. Because this concealer is a nice deep color and it is great coverage, it allows us to be able to use a lighter coverage foundation after, so we don't have to go in with such a heavy foundation. Okay, I'm gonna use my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Complexion brush and just kind of like buff that in. I'm really excited about you seeing this look because like, I feel like it's something that's really wearable and it is a bit more of an upgrade from the from the clean girl look. So I'm just buffing this in, you know, like keep going up towards this area here. It kind of gives me that coverage, but also lifts it. I'm not going to do that with this brush because I want to actually do that with my sponge and I'll explain why. Now I'm going to get a lighter concealer, so my traditional one, which is my Tarte Shape Tape. And I'm going to use this on these areas here because I actually want this to be a little bit brighter. You don't have to use two different concealers. You can use your one concealer, so don't stress. If you really want this exact type of look, then obviously you can follow this. Now I'm going in with my sponge and this is where I'm going to start buffing. This is going to cover my under eye like dark circles and it's also going to kind of like lift the area. The great thing is because we've got that slightly deeper concealer on the outside, it kind of mixes together and creates the perfect shade. So it isn't too dark. It gives us that slight brightness, but it's not also overly bright. Okay, now we're going to go in with a darker concealer. I'm going with my Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Concealer. This is a much darker shade. And we're going to just kind of sculpt the face a little. So the reason I'm using this concealer is because it does give more of that kind of radiant finish to the skin. So, and I like that. And that's the kind of like look I'm going for. Because I want my real skin to come through, but I will kind of like fake it as well a little bit. So I've got my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Complexion brush again. I'm going to take this into the hairline, right into the hairline. I don't want it to look like it's separated from the hairline because it's just going to look weird then. It should just warm the perimeter of the face. See this little V here? Just helps to make the tip of my nose look smaller, and then this just kind of like slims it down. And then this bit here, this is going to help to like define my jawline a bit. Right, I'm going to go in with my Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation. This is 10.5. Just applying this to the back of my hand. And I've got my brush, my sponge ready. And I'm just kind of like taking a bit of that foundation, buffing it into my sponge first, and then I'm buffing it into my skin. I'm going to take this around the nose. This is a great foundation for this type of look because it isn't fully matte, but it also gives you great coverage. So it does give you that really nice glow look to your skin. The colour's great as well. I really do like this colour. I'm really surprised that the PR company got it right. See how you can still see that contour come through? And then right along here, I just kind of take that down into the neck area. Yeah, I'm really feeling this skin right now. Now, before we actually go in with powder, I now want to kind of bring back some of those imperfections, add a little bit of that color in certain areas, and then I want to set it. But I also don't want to set it fully matte because I want that really nice kind of glow to come through. Okay, so first off, I'm going to get my blush. I'm getting my Fenty Beauty Double Cheeked Up Peony Dropper and Malibu's. You know why I'm saying it like that? Because when I first said this out, I did a reel recently. I called it Marley Booze. And then my husband was like, Marley Booze. And I'm like, Marley Booze. And he was like, don't you think it's supposed to be like Malibu's? You know, like a Malibu? And I was like, ah, right. So yeah, that's why I'm laughing. Anyway, I'm going to use my NYX 109 brush and I'm going to just like kind of like dip it into both. You know, like just kind of like go along like that all over. So it's kind of like covering the bristles. And now what I'm going to do is take this over my skin very lightly, over my nose, and like just along these areas here. So I still want that kind of blush to come through along this high point of my cheekbone here. Lightly go across, but I don't want it to look like a strip. Do you know what I mean? Add my blush here. Just keep going over the color, like until you feel like you've got the right amount of blush. So I think a good area would be this area here, right? And then just a little bit up here so that it doesn't look like that kind of strip. I've got that really nice color going all the way across. Honestly, you could keep going if you want extra blush. I think I'm kind of happy with that, although I feel like you're not going to be able to see this as much over camera. So maybe I will go just a little bit extra so that you guys can really see it. Now, this is a little trick I'm going to show you using a stipple brush, any stipple brush, like a dual fiber brush. This is a MAC one, but it's very old and apparently it's discontinued. So I'll put the link in the description for a much cheaper version that you can get on Amazon. Basically, this is a wide stipple brush, right? So all the kind of like hairs, there's like gaps between all the hairs. So what I want to do is I want to get my concealer, you know that one that we used that was really dark, the Charlotte Tilbury one? I'm going to draw it across, like cover my back of my hand, and I'm going to show you. Look at that, right? Okay, now what I'm going to do is just kind of like go over with this bristle brush. So it's kind of covering some of the hair. And now what I'm going to do is just get a mirror and kind of go over certain areas, and it's going to add that kind of like slight freckle look without it looking perfect. It's like kind of gives you that floor, those flaws back, but in a good way. Kind of like I have like, just makes it look good. And I have like a lot of sunspots on my face. So this works really well for me because I feel like it just makes everything look less perfect and look a bit more kind of like sun-kissed. Now this is where I'm going to get my powder. So I've got my banana powder. First off, I'm going to make sure there are no creases on my under eyes. So let's just get rid of them with the pointy bit of my sponge. Pick up any excess product. And then I'm just going to get my powder puff, and then I'm going to set my under eyes. And then I'm just going to go over certain areas. You know, the areas that I really, really do want to keep matte. And then I get the big part of my Hourglass brush and I basically just dust over the whole face. I don't do the under eye because I like to get my other brush because this fits in perfectly on my under eye area. Okay, now I'm going to get my Too Faced Fluff and Hold Brow Laminating Wax. This stuff is absolutely amazing. I am literally going to brush this through my hair like that. Then the lid comes off. How cool is that? You've got a brush and a comb at the end. And then I'm just going to basically brush this up. And then whatever's come off on this brush, I usually just take it off on the back of my hand. And then I flatten it with my finger. I'm going to use a different brow pencil today. I'm using the MAC Eyebrow Styler in Spiked today. I'm going to see what this is like. So I'm actually trying this out. Oh, but we want to let that dry for a bit. Let that dry for a bit. So in the meantime, let me just put a little bit of lip colour on. I'm going to use two. So I'm going to use MAC again. I'm going to use the shade Whirl and the shade Mare. Is that how you say it? Mare? Nothing on my lips, by the way. There you go. That's that lip colour. It's quite browny. Now I'm just going to dab a little bit of the Mare shade just to add that rosy finish to it. I'm just going to like buff the edges, you know, like so it looks a bit messy around the edges, so it just looks real. And I'm going to draw little kind of hair strokes. Quite a good brow pencil. Now, I don't want to like finish the brow with this pencil because I feel like I need a actual like brow pen for what I want to do. So I'm just filling in, you know, like the areas that are really obvious and just kind of almost shaping it. The only thing with this pencil is it doesn't stay sharp because it's like kind of a square finish, I guess, which is kind of the problem with most pencils, but I don't usually have that issue with my Benefit pencil or my Anastasia pencil, whereas I feel like this gets a bit kind of blunt at the end. Like it's hard to create that feather stroke with it. Okay, I'm getting my Anastasia brow pen in soft brown, and I'm just gonna draw in some hair strokes. So I'm just kind of like drawing these little feather strokes in wherever I feel that I need it. And I tend to kind of like look back and forth and see, you know, like how can I make it symmetrical? I mainly follow the underside of the brow and then sometimes add a few little kind of like feather strokes from the top so that it looks a bit more feathery. You know, even though I just complained about that brow pencil, I actually quite like it. So I think it's the colour, and I like the fact that the colour transfers really easily from this pencil. So yeah, I just want to add that. It's not a bad pencil. It's actually quite a good one. I think I will use it again. Now, what I want to do is add a bit of depth to my eye. So I'm going to use from my Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette, I'm going to use the shade 8. And I'm using my E45 brush for this. And I'm just basically gonna go into the socket there, a little bit above. Keep looking straight ahead when you're doing this because you really wanna see where you're adding it. Now, I don't want it to look like an obvious bold line. So I've applied the smallest amount of product to the brush. And can you see I'm mainly focusing on this outside area? I don't wanna really focus on that inner area there. So what I'm doing is just kind of like applying some, but almost like lifting it as it comes out here because that actually lifts that whole area as well. And now can you see the difference? So we haven't applied it on the inside part, we've just applied it on the outside part, and I've just basically been flicking it up. So like same thing here. Not a lot of product on this brush, that's the main point here. Not too much product. There you go, that's perfect. So we're not going for that obvious kind of drawn in socket line. I just want it to look like a shadow. So that's why we're kind of like flicking it upwards as we're coming out. That's more than enough. We're gonna get that same brush. I'm just taking off whatever's on it. And I'm going into the shade Matte 2. And this is where I'm actually gonna go on the inside area here. And I'm actually gonna go across just underneath where we actually applied that darker shade. You don't really have to be super precise with this. It just adds a bit of depth. It helps that darker shade to pop a little bit. I do feel like I need the odd few more extra kind of freckles on my face. So I'm gonna go in with my brow pen, very lightly with the tip, and just gonna like touch the skin and then use my finger to kind of like smudge it. And I'm going over areas where I can see that I've already maybe got some kind of dark spots. It's mainly around my nose area. I have a lot here. Just gonna curl my lashes. This is my Kevyn Aucoin lash curler. I love it. And I just kind of like press a few times. I'm gonna get my Sigma E05 brush and I'm gonna go into my shade Matte 8. And I'm basically gonna, with the flat part of this brush, press. and create a kind of like really soft liner look, but you have to press, otherwise nothing's going to happen. Literally, if you go across, the eyeshadow will just disappear. So you just got to press as you go along, and you're kind of like dot by dot creating that liner look, and it's so easy. Like, look how quick that was. And then with my finger, drag it out, and you can make that kind of flick area as long as you want, or as defined as you want. I like it to be pretty soft, so I kind of like smudge it. The trick is, I just want it to look like there's just a very kind of like soft definition there. It's nothing major, it's not black. There you go. It's literally so easy. I love this. Let's get this mascara on. Benefit, they're real magnet lashes. Amazing mascara. Guys, well worth getting this mascara. It's so good. It's my current favorite. I'm going to get my eyeliner brush again. I'm going to go into matte, I think this is matte 11. And this is where I'm actually going to touch the root of my lower lash with this. And what this is going to do is give me that bit of definition there without it looking like I've got eyeshadow on, if that makes sense. So it just makes the root of my lower lash look thicker. Now I'm going to go back into that colour, and this is where I'm going to just darken that flick. Just coming out from the lash line, I just want that area there to be a little bit darker. Same on this side. You can drag it out if you need to, but I'm happy with that. I'm going to get my iconic nude from Charlotte Tilbury, and this is where I'm just going to feather in. Just going to add a little bit of kind of clear gloss. I'm using my Dual Lip Maximizer, just a little bit. My Fenty 200 brush, my Fenty Sunstalker in Shady Biz, and obviously I need to kind of like sculpt my nose. So I'm just doing it a bit on the sides of the bridge of the nose, there, and then a little V there. What I will do though is use that same bronzer and my Hourglass veil brush just to kind of like sculpt my cheekbones a little bit more. I just feel like I need a little bit more. And I like the fact that I've still got some luminosity on my skin. Let's get a little bit of highlighter. I'm going to go for my Tom Ford. And just on the tip of the nose. I'm also going to add a little bit here to lift my brow a bit. And this is my finished Clean Girl Winter Edition look. I really do hope you've enjoyed it. And don't forget that all of the products I've used are listed in my description box below. So you just need to head over, click on the links, and it'll take you straight to it. And if you do have any questions, let me know in the comments box below. I hope this is something you're going to recreate too, because I do think that it's a bit more of a, like I said, an upgrade to the normal Clean Girl look. It's perfect for this season as well. It just looks luminous in all the right places, but matte in all the right places where you need it during this season, you know? So if you have any questions, let me know. And wherever you are in the world, I hope you have the best day ever. I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you do like it, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button so that you don't miss any of my future videos. And I will see you on the next video.